All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of the Horse Guy Mike podcast, episode 3. We're covering the 2021 Belmont Stakes plus the undercard races. I'm Horse Guy Mike. Joining me tonight, my good friend, Johnny the Wire. Say hi.
Hey, horse guy, what's up, man? I'm back from Pimlico. I had a great time at the Preakness. I got my new fresh shirt from the merch table. Uh, but yeah, this is the only thing I came back with because I did not come back with any bankroll after after Ron Bauer stormed by to win the big one. That
Yeah.
one burned me.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about the Preakness here for a second. So, Ron Bauer kind of came out of nowhere. We were both right to fade Concert Tour that day. Both of us
Oh
thought that
yeah.
he was kind of a fraud. But the race went well. Neither of us landed on Ron Bauer. I think our buddy Andrew mentioned him a little bit underneath. Both of us
He
thought
just
that,
said he was like, yeah, that's my long shot. And
yeah, he
then
could
it's
get
like,
up for
oh,
like
okay.
third or something. None of
Yeah.
us were expecting him. But watching the race back, that horse got the exact trip I wanted. From all,
Well,
yeah.
I think Crowded Trade was the one you picked.
Yeah,
And
I wanted Crowded Trade to have that same trip, like be in the second tier and just hit the turn
Well,
and,
he
and
did.
gas
He
home.
did. He was right next to Ron Bauer the
And then
whole way
Ron
around.
Bauer actually did it, and Crowded Trade
Right.
did not.
Yeah. And I was on Midnight Bourbon, and he got the exact trip I wanted, where he went right to Medina Spirit, and then he took over the lead around the turn. And I'm starting to get crazy. Like I got my head. I'm watching him, and then all of a sudden, by the time they hit the stretch, to like even before they got to me, all of a sudden the 6 horses in the lead, and he's not coming back. He's gone. He's going all the way. So I had it all in on Midnight Bourbon pretty much. And then I did not like I just wish the only thing I wish I did, I had Ron Bauer underneath. I just wish I would have boxed like an
You gotta
exacta.
box it.
Yeah, if I just would have boxed my exacta, boxed the trifecta, I would have hit at least something, even like a minimum type of bet, like a $5 exacta. I would have went home with like a few $100. But either
That's,
way, it was a really fun time. The 2 days were just crazy, man, because I did like the tent, like the all you can eat, all you can drink tent, for the 2 days. So I had like it was like 30 minutes you have another race going on, and you're drinking free seltzers all day, and like it was just, yeah, and the weather was perfect. Like it was just an amazing 2 days pretty much of horse racing.
yeah, sounds dangerous. And luckily, you got to see a lot of horses that we're going to see this weekend. So
Yeah.
you got to see a couple superstars in the making,
Chubb
hopefully.
Chubb Wagon. Andrew was big on Chubb Wagon on our last podcast, and
I, I know that was his
she
easy single.
yeah, she won, like, she just blew him away. Yeah, and then we got some other horses that are coming back in 3 weeks. So yeah, man, it was just, all in all, it was a really fun weekend.
Yeah, it'll
Can't
be interesting
complain,
to
man.
see. It'll be interesting to see how that short turnaround goes for a couple of those horses. But without further ado, let's jump into the Belmont Stakes. So do you want to kick us off with a little bit of your analysis, or you want to go horse by horse?
No, let's go how we handicapped it.
All right.
I don't want to just run down the list of horses.
All right. What's your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah,
How do you
so
see the race going? Do you think the draw helped anyone? Did it hurt anyone?
nah, because there only 8 horses, so I
Yeah.
think the draw, and it's a super long race. I think the draw is fine for everybody. But what I will say is that even before the Kentucky Derby, I had this little thought in my head that Known Agenda would be my Belmont horse, even before the Kentucky Derby even went, and before he even drew the rail in the Kentucky Derby and all that. And so I see no reason why I should get off that take 5 weeks later. I'm going with Known Agenda on top. He's going to be my top horse. And what I see from him is that, yes, he did have that terrible ride in Kentucky, but I'm just going to draw a line through it because he wasn't on the rail. I think you were watching him like live. Like apparently he just got shuffled way back into the back of the field. He has no gate speed. And so in Kentucky, that's just like, you're asking to lose. You're asking to get smoked by, however many lengths. So I think you could just draw a line through that race. And what I like about him is that in the Florida Derby, he was actually fairly close to the lead, on a slow pace in the Florida Derby. Let me just get the numbers on that.
Yeah, he was fifth. He was in fifth throughout the first
Yeah, but he was
like the
only
first turn of the
he
stretch.
was only 2.5 lengths after the first, or no, sorry, he was 3 lengths behind after the first half mile, and the half mile was in 47.6 seconds. So
Yeah, he wasn't like coming out of the clouds. He was
yeah,
staying mid pack, so he was ready to pounce.
exactly. He was mid pack, and it was a slow pace. It was 47.6, and I think that's probably a similar pace to what we're going to have in the Belmont because it's a super long race. Horses aren't going to really bust out of there and go really quick early. So I think Known Agenda might get that same like mid pack, 3 lengths, 4 lengths behind the leaders, and then there's not going to be as much traffic this time either. So I think he's going to have clear run if he's good enough, and I think he wants the extra long distance. I think he's going to run them all down. And if he closes like he did in the Florida Derby, where he just all of a sudden it just looks like he gets shot out of a cannon, I think he could. I think he could do it again at the Belmont. And he's been working with Dr. Post, who's in the Met Mile, and that's kind of what Pletcher does. Is he kind of works his 2 best horses together before the big races, and he just fired a bullet workout. So that tells me that the Derby didn't really take anything out of him, and he'll be ready to run. So Known Agenda is my top pick, and I think for sure, maybe if he doesn't win, he's definitely going to hit the board in the top 3.
Yeah, I love Known Agenda too. What you're saying, you've got Pletcher in the Belmont with a Curlin, with that kind of that mid pack style. It just seems like it's setting up perfect for him. I still didn't pick him on top. The way I'm seeing I watched a couple of replays of the Belmont. Watched some of the prep races again, and I'm coming back to Hot Rod Charlie. I loved him. He was my Kentucky Derby pick, but just looking at the way I'm seeing this pace set up, Hot Rod Charlie drew the 4 hole, and Rock Your World drew outside of him, and those 2 factor to be the main 2 pace pressures in this race. I think Rock Your World.
Think the Japanese
Yeah.
horse might do something crazy and go out to the pace too, because in the Preakness, he actually went on the backside. He went towards the lead and then faded. So
yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing Hot Rod Charlie's drew the 4. So I'm seeing Hot Rod Charlie's going to go up, hit the rail. Francisco de Ina is going to be right next to him, and Rock Your World's going to be 3 wide.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm thinking,
I can see the same exact thing.
Yeah.
happening.
So then Rock Your World and Francisco de Ina might push a little bit further up, and they might take the 1-2 with then Hot Rod Charlie right underneath, and then Essential Quality and Known Agenda in the third level. So I'm seeing either those 2 burn each other out, or they're not going fast enough to where Hot Rod Charlie can stay with them the entire time. And we've seen time and time again that this Louisiana Derby was the best prep race out of all the preps. You had Mandaloon, you had Bezos, you had Hot Rod Charlie, and Hot Rod Charlie beat him, and he beat him wire to wire. So Midnight Bourbon, yeah,
got second in the Preakness.
So if we can get a similar run from Hot Rod Charlie that he ran there, I think we're going to look at a big race here. The other thing is, I believe when they were looking at the adjusted times for the Kentucky Derby based on distance traveled and everything like that, the Essential Quality ran the fastest race, and Hot Rod Charlie ran number 2, and it was very, very small margin. And the difference is Essential Quality is going to be 2-1 here or lower, and Hot Rod Charlie is going to be 7-2, 9-2, something way higher than that. So I think the value is there on Hot Rod Charlie, who beat Essential Quality in the Derby, ran a similar race, had the best prep, coming off the layoff that everyone else is getting. So I think the race is going to set up perfectly for him. What are your thoughts on Essential Quality? I mentioned him a little bit. He's a heavy favorite here, like he was in the Derby. How are you seeing it break up for him?
Yeah. So let me just say Hot Rod's my number 2 pick. So I do agree. I agree with pretty much everything you said about the pace. I think he's actually going to be on the inside on the early speed, and they're not going to go very fast. Cause what is Rock Your World really going to loop around and go 45, 46 for an opening half mile?
Yeah, it'd be suicide. Yeah, it'd be suicide. Yeah. If he did do that, it would be impossible.
I think Joel Rosario, he doesn't like to, I've said it on the pod, he doesn't like to push the horses out. So I think what's going to happen is Hot Rod will go, maybe the Japanese horse goes, Rock Your World will go, but then he's not going to loop around. He'll let him just sit right off of him. Mm-hmm. So I think Hot Rod Charlie is going to get the trip that he wants, the trip that he got in Louisiana, like you were saying. On the flip side, Essential Quality, I don't really see where he's going to get the trip that he wants, because all of his big wins as a 2-year-old, he set off a pretty fast pace and he was able to close into it and, and go on and win. And it seems like the 2 races as a 3-year-old, he's just kind of a grinder. He doesn't really I don't see that like explosion out of him at the end of the race where like he goes and gets it, like goes and gets the win. Like yes, he's got a lot of talent, and he's gonna be, like you said, he'll be in the probably the third flight, maybe the second flight, and he'll probably get the distance. But I don't see him like looping around Hot Rod Charlie to go get the win. Like I could potentially see Known Agenda doing that, because he's shown that dimension. Whereas Essential Quality, like that Bluegrass, he had the slow pace. He was, him and Highly Motivated ran a really slow pace, and he barely grinded out the win. And then in the Derby, I understand he had a wide trip, but he also had a clean trip, and he still couldn't even get by Hot Rod for third. So I like Essential Quality underneath. Like I'm definitely not going to play him to win. But I definitely think like he is talented enough where like it's such a long race. Like he might just grind it out and get, maybe second, maybe third or fourth, something like that. That's how I'm going to play him.
Yeah, I think grinding's the exact right term. I think this is the perfect race for a grinder though, because it is so long that what I'm seeing is that, like we discussed with the pace, Rock Your World, Francisco de Ina are going to be on the lead. They're going to fade. Hot Rod Charlie's going to cut the corner. Essential Quality's going to swing outside of them. The two of them are going to stretch battle. Whoever grinds it out is going to win. And then Known Agenda is going to come in and pick up the pieces and either get third or second. That's how I'm seeing the race, like exactly.
Yeah, man. I mean, that would be a perfect scenario for each of us, because I'm sure I would have. I'm gonna have Essential Quality on top of like a trifecta or some, just in case he does win. Kind of like I learned my lesson with Rombauer. Like you can't totally leave him off, but I'll try to find a way to have like maybe a $1 trifecta with Essential Quality winning, just in case he does grind his way to the win. I think we're on the same kind of three horses here.
Yeah, so I think my top choice is Hot Rod Charlie. You're on Known Agenda. We both like Essential Quality, like either second or third, or in our pick five to have them on top. Because that's the only thing. You don't want to get to the last leg of the pick five and get beat by the favorite. I mean, we both think that he's vulnerable, but not that vulnerable.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to run a good race, because he has had the 5 weeks off. Like Hot Rod Charlie's had the 5 weeks off. And another thing, we haven't talked about Rombauer yet, but another thing that I really like about Hot Rod Charlie is that the jockey who just won the Preakness, Flavian Pratt, he instantly went off of Rombauer to go ride Hot Rod Charlie. So if that's not a dead giveaway that he thinks Hot Rod Charlie is going to be the better horse, like I don't know what is.
Yeah, I agree. And Rombauer was like always aiming for the Preakness. So they trained him up perfectly for the Preakness, and there's no way he's going to be able to come back off 3 weeks rest.
Yeah,
and just fire. They set him up perfectly for that, like one race, one shot, and they did it. And I think Rombauer is a good horse for like, the Haskell or something like that down the road. But I don't think off 3 weeks rest with a new jockey, firing an all-time great performance, I don't think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to get overbet too as the Preakness winner. And I'm going to leave him off of every single ticket. I'm not even going to have him in my try.
Well, I wrote him down underneath, man. I'm going to play him just in case he is the real deal now.
I mean, if I want a long shot underneath, I'll go with Overtook or Bourbonic. Like if I'm doing something for my tries or my super, I'm going to pick one of those deep closers, and hope that they're just picking up the piece. Kind of like Gronkowski. Remember that horse?
Oh God, I do remember. You're bringing up bad memories now, man, because was that Justify's year?
Yeah. He got it for, I think, second or third.
No, he got it. That's right. I keyed Justify and everything. And I had the third, fourth, and like fifth place horses, but Gronkowski got second and blew up all my other bets. So like I would have hit, like, if he didn't exist, I would have hit like every bet that year. Yeah. Screw that horse, man.
All right, perfect. So
you're saying Rombauer is like the Gronkowski? Or no, Overtook?
No. I think Overtook is like the Gronkowski for this year. I would say Bourbonic, but that Wood Memorial just sucks. Like everything about it, like it sucked when I watched it, and then Crowd of Trade came back and risk taking
in the Preakness. Yeah. I wrote Bourbonic as a toss on my paper.
Yeah. So,
but I did like, I was kind of intrigued on Overtook though. So.
Yeah, so that was a small field in the Peter Pan, and with a small field like that, I think there was only like 4 horses or something in it. You can't really go off of like a 4-horse field for a deep closer like that, because they're not getting the proper pace set up or anything. So
yeah, it was a 5-horse field, and he was in 4th early on.
Yeah, so he didn't get a good pace set up. He didn't get what a closer wants in that kind of race. So I think Overtook underneath is a sneaky play.
Yeah, and you know what else I like about him is he was a $1 million purchase. Like this isn't some like plucky long shot, you know. This is a horse that
He's a Curlin.
Todd Pletcher. Yeah, he's by Curlin. Like Todd Pletcher, like I'm sure he's had, you know, he thought he was going to be one of his better horses when he got him as a 2-year-old. So, yeah, man, I think Overtook might be kind of like that sneaky long shot play.
Oh, there he is. There's Mr. White Wine Weather himself jumping on. Surprise guest appearance.
Surprise. He said he wasn't going to be here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
2 words, Chub Wagon.
Chub Wagon. We got Andrew's easiest single of the weekend. Chub Wagon race.
She was Andrew. I saw her race live in Pimlico. She was awesome. She smoked the field.
Maybe the best horse in America right now.
I think
talk about that
she's
workout.
Like 6 for 6. Like she's never lost in her life.
Yeah, she is 6 for 6, and she just fired that 44-second workout. That 4 furlong workout is insane.
Is that on the sheets?
Yeah, 44-second 4 furlong work. She's 6 for 6.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She's good. I've never even heard of her trainer.
Dude, I guess her win at Pimlico was like the closest win of her career, and she won by 2 full lengths.
That's insane.
Yeah, man, she might. I don't know. She might be like the best sprinter going right now.
Andrew, we just got done talking about the Belmont. Did you have any thoughts on any horse in the Belmont? Did you have a chance to look at the sheets?
I don't even know who's in it. Mike, it looks like I've been in the wood. I've been camping in the woods for a week.
All right. Well,
that's the hard-hitting analysis you get on the Horse Guy Mike and Friends podcast here.
That's perfect. That's perfect. All right. Well,
I'm studying for accounting, so I got to go.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Chub Wagon. I just had to get that in.
All right.
All right. We will remember that.
All right. So that kind of takes us to our next segment. So let's do our quick picks. We're each going to pick, like we do every week, our easiest single of the weekend, our most vulnerable favorite, and our livest long shot. Let's start with easiest single. Andrew just gave us his easy single, Chub Wagon, race 8 on Friday. That's the Bed O' Roses Stakes, grade 3, 7 furlongs. He's got Chub Wagon on top. What do you think of that pick? Is that an easy single for you too?
I love that pick. I think it is a single. I think she is, like she's doing it at different tracks, at different distances. And when she fires a 44.6 workout, like that's the fastest work I've ever seen. So clearly she is like just feeling great. And I think Chub Wagon on Friday afternoon, like that's one we got to key some of our plays around.
I do like it. There's another horse in that race I like, Estilo Talentoso. I liked her back at Churchill in the Derby City Distaff. She got 3rd to Gamine in that race. She ran well, and if Gamine was in this race, I think she'd be like 1 to 5 or 1 to 2.
And she got 2nd to Kamari too.
Yeah, so. 2nd to Kamari, Sconson. She's running behind really good horses. So Chub Wagon won't be any better than any of those horses, but this is the hardest field that Chub Wagon will have faced. So
True.
I think it's a good race. Chub Wagon, definitely key, but I'm gonna box her up with the Estilo Talentoso as my
just
two
like a little 1-2 exacta
yeah,
box there.
little 1-2 exacta box.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So who is your easy single for the weekend?
Yeah, so let's address the elephant in the room here. This is our 3rd podcast. We each have done 2 easiest singles so far. I'm 2 for 2, and you're 0 for 2, Horse Guy Mike.
So here's my thing.
Your easiest singles.
I've been going.
Have a big pick. You have a very big pick coming up here. Tell the people what you're thinking.
Okay, so here's my thing. My easiest singles from the past couple weeks, they've been like 3-year-olds making their debut, or like horses coming off long layoffs that were like all-stars before their layoff and then came back and threw up clunkers. I'm not going that way this time. I'm going to head to race 5 on Friday. That's the, what's the name of this race? Hold on. The Acorn.
The Acorn, right?
Yeah, the G1 Acorn Stakes. Going with the number 6 horse, Search Results, even money, morning line favorite.
Can't lose.
cannot lose. This horse just blew. She was 3 for 3 in New York before she went to the Kentucky Oaks. lost to the Kentucky Oaks by a nose to the best filly in the country. If Malathot was in this race,
Yep.
she'd be 1-9.
My Oaks pick. She gave my Oaks pick like the scare of a lifetime.
Yeah, if Malathot was in this race, it'd be the easiest money, easiest single ever. And Search Results lost to her by a nose. She's head and mane and tails above the rest of this field. I don't see anyone else coming close to her. That's my easy single. What are your thoughts on that race?
I love it. I love the easiest single. The only thing that scares me is that she's cutting back from 1 1/8 miles to a mile. So she's losing that extra furlong because clearly she can handle the 1 1/8 miles. So like that, maybe that brings in some of these other horses that don't want the extra distance, that kind of like they can run their best race at a mile. But on paper, her speed figures are way above everybody else. Like, and she, her only second in her life was last time against like probably the best 3-year-old female in the country. So Godspeed, Horse Guy Mike. I'm not going to play your picks, but I hope you win.
Thank you.
Because I played your pick. I played your single on the Kentucky.
This Kentucky Oaks Day. Yeah.
Who was it? Aunt Pearl?
Yeah, it was Aunt Pearl.
Yeah, and I lost my money on that.
And I played a saver bet in that race, and I won money on it. So
yeah.
It's all right. All right.
Anyway, I'm 2 for 2. So let's bring in my pick, the guaranteed winner of the weekend. It's going to be race 7 on Saturday, the Ogden Phipps. It's going to be Swiss Skydiver. She's not even the favorite. She's the second choice at 5-2. She lost her last time out to the favorite in the race, Latruska, but Robbie Alvarado, the jockey, I know we've texted about this. I was so upset. I was so mad back in April when they did this Apple Blossom, and Robbie Alvarado in a 5-horse field put her into trouble in a small field. It was the worst ride I've seen all year. He got fired from being her jockey. So now we have Jose Ortiz. He's really good at Belmont. He's winning at 22% at the Belmont meet right now. He's jumping on. So you get a legit rider upgrade here. Swiss Skydiver, I believe she's coming off like a 46-8 workout. So she's doing great. She's feeling healthy. And I think just the jockey switch, he's not gonna, well, for a lack of a better word, he's not gonna choke when, he gets on the rail and then he sees a horse coming up on the outside, because Alvarado kind of like seized up and let the other horses go. And then she kind of ran into the back of Latruska last time. I don't think Jose Ortiz is going to let that happen. I think if he's on the rail and he's got early speed, he's going to let the horse get out on the lead. And I think Swiss Skydiver is, I think if you just let her run naturally, I think she's the best older female, 4-year-old or older female in the country. So I'm looking for a big bounce back. I think she got 3rd last time, but I think she's going to turn it around and beat the horses that beat her last time. She's going to get a big win for the easiest single of the weekend, and pretty good odds too. 5-2. Maybe she'll be like 2-1.
All right. I love Swiss Skydiver. Kenny McPeak is my favorite trainer in the country right now. I can't easy single her. There's 4 horses in this race that I love. Swiss Skydiver, like you said, jockey change, everything's great there. She did everything right last year. She had a great performance to open this season. Threw up that clunker, blame it on the jockey, blame it on whatever.
No, I'm blaming it on the jockey.
Blame it on the jockey.
Not whatever. I'm blaming it on the jockey.
I can't single her when you have the horse that beat her legitimately in Latruska, just to the outside of her. And Latruska, like, it wasn't a freak performance.
Well, she was great, but I don't think it was.
But it wasn't.
I think it was fluky in the fact that Swiss Skydiver had to hit the brakes like 3 times.
But it wasn't just that she beat Swiss Skydiver. She also beat Monomoy Girl, who didn't have the trouble that Swiss did. She beat Monomoy Girl in a straight up race, and she is the first horse in 2 years to cross the finish line before her. 3 years, I think.
No, you're right. Monomoy Girl lost fair and square on that race.
Yeah, I mean, she was carrying less weight, and she's carrying 122 this race, which is two less than Swiss Skydiver, but I don't think it'll make a big deal. But I can't easy single Swiss Skydiver when Latruska's right there. The other 2 horses I love is the horse that just beat Latruska last out, or 2 times out. That's the number 5 horse, She Dares the Devil. Not only did she beat Latruska 2 races ago, she beat Swiss Skydiver in the Kentucky Oaks last year. She Dares the Devil is doing fantastic. She won 2 races leading up to the Oaks, lost to another horse in this race, and then won the Azuri, and then she won the La Troyenne this year. She's doing fantastic. Beat Latruska. She beat another great filly called Invutante, who came back this past weekend on Memorial Day and won a huge race at Churchill easily. So She Dares the Devil's beating the best of the best. And I think she's really, really dangerous here. Brad Cox, Florent Giroux, deadly combination. And the other,
but I think She
go
Dares
ahead.
the Devil. She's used to being on an easy lead by herself. So I have a sneaky little suspicion that starting from the out, she's on the outside. I don't think she's going to be able to clear ahead of Latruska and or Swiss Skydiver.
So I think being on the outside is actually going to make her fire like a rocket, like right out of the gate to try to get over, and then she's going to sit there. So I think Latruska, because what happened?
I think it's perfect then, because then she's going too fast.
No, because that's
Swiss
what happened
Skydiver.
in the Azuri. Latruska, like She Dares the Devil got the lead, and Latruska sat off of her, and Latruska tried to run her down the stretch, and She Dares the Devil just held her off, which is the exact same thing that happened in the Oaks last year, where both Gamine and Swiss Skydiver tried to run her down, and they just couldn't. She was too fast with that late pace.
So you're just saying she's just too naturally fast for these horses.
I think so. So
Maybe.
who knows?
I
But she's a great horse. The wild card in this race, the number 2 Valiance. This is this horse's first start since the Distaff last year, the Breeders' Cup Distaff. And this is an odd place for Todd Pletcher to make a seasonal debut. This horse has to be working like a monster for Pletcher to say, like, hey, first race of the year, I'm going for a G1. No warm-up, no allowance, no listed stakes.
She has 2 bullet workouts in May. So
she has 2 bullet workouts. She barely, or not barely, I mean, she lost a Distaff to Monomoy Girl when Monomoy Girl was in perfect form. She beat She Dares the Devil last year in the Spinster at Keeneland. So she has high speed figures in this field. So she's a big unknown. This is her first race off a huge layoff. Anything can happen. But if she fires, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So that's why I can't agree with your single in this race, because I'm going 4 deep.
Well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Disagree. Luckily, actually, I think this is part of our joint pick 5 ticket. We'll figure something out.
We'll have a joint pick 5 ticket. We'll have to iron that out on the weekend, but I'm definitely going to be playing my own win bet on Swiss Skydiver. You could take that to the bank.
Take it to the bank. Take it to your TVG account where it'll stay.
And one more, let me just throw in my last thing on Swiss Skydiver. Kind of a trip angle that I haven't heard any of the other people I listen to talk about. So this Ogden Phipps, it's a 1.16 mile race. And, like the horses you were talking about, they love that distance. Like She Dares the Devil she's won 5 out of 7 in this distance. But it's a 1-turn 1.16 mile because Belmont's such a big track. So it almost plays more like a sprint distance. And I think that it means it's actually going to play longer. It's going to play more like a 1 1/8 mile type of race. And guess what Swiss Skydiver's 2 best races of her career are? It's the Alabama at 1.25 miles and the Preakness at 1 3/16 miles. So Swiss Skydiver wants more distance.
And I would say this goes to your like getting the lead. Like drawing outside doesn't matter as much for She Dares the Devil, because they just had that long stretch. So it's not.
It's going to be almost like a super long sprint though, because they're not going to get that break around the first turn, because it's going to be all straightaway for the back. So it's one of those things where like if they don't watch out, like the pace could really cook up early, because
that's true.
Because you're not kind of like, everyone kind of just idles when they run on the turn. You know what I mean? The horses don't really, they're not like busting it through the turns. So I think that could be a huge pace advantage for Swiss Skydiver, because she likes that. She likes the extra long distances. So I don't think like she won't get winded basically when they turn for home. Whereas I think like the horses you like She Dares the Devil, if she's on a quick lead, I don't really know if she can get the distance if it's a 1-turn.
Yeah, we'll see. That's definitely a good angle to look at.
I mean, that is like one of the most contentious races of the weekend. Like everybody can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, moving on to our next segment, vulnerable favorites. John, do you want to lead us off with who your vulnerable favorite is?
I would love to, because I loved it when she was my easiest single of Pimlico weekend, Mean Mary. She's coming back in 3 weeks. She's running on Friday in race 9, the New York the New
Who's the
York
vulnerable?
Stakes.
Who's the vulnerable single in that, or who's the
Or
vulnerable
sorry,
favorite?
the vulnerable favorite is going to be Harvey's Little Goyle, who's also a very good horse. I can't really knock the fact that Harvey's Little Goyle is like a bad favorite. It's more the so that I just love Mean Mary. She's one of my favorite horses in training. I gave her out as a single on our last podcast, and she was in a grade 3 race 3 weeks ago. And the reason I loved her was because I consider her kind of a grade 1 animal, even though her best race, she lost a grade 1 by a neck to Rushing Fall last year. But I think this year she's going to win a grade 1. If she just comes into it in the right form and such. So back at Pimlico, that was her first race of the year. She won it. I know the speed figures weren't that great, but I think it was almost like it was a prep. It was a paid workout. And so she's coming in here off a 3-week break. It's her second race of the year. I think Mean Mary, she's going to do the same. She's going to do what she always does. She's going to go out to the early lead, and then she's going to go around the turf and then stay all the way and go wire to wire, win the race again. Maybe we'll win some more money on Mean Mary at better odds this time. She's 9-2. I believe at Pimlico she was like 4-5, so she was odds on.
No, she was even. Yeah, she was on. Yeah, 4-5 odds on.
Yeah, so she's a lot better odds on Friday. She's 9-2. She's actually the second choice now. I think people got scared by seeing that speed figure down in the 80s, which doesn't look great on paper. But I think the way the race shaped up, like she set a 50 half-mile early fraction because no one was even close to challenging her. So I think it was more like a paid workout than an actual race that she was in last time. So I think she's going to be fresh. I think she's going to fire a huge race here. And yeah, man, we're going to back it up with Mean Mary back-to-back podcasts.
All right. I got to disagree with you here. I think Harvey's Little Goyle is a pretty solid favorite. And I think Mean Mary, that was a good race last time.
We just can't get on
the same page. She almost got caught. She set the slowest fractions I've ever seen in my life, and she almost got caught at the wire. She only won by half a length. I mean, that the horses behind her were closing into her.
Harvey's Little Goyle only won by half a length. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and she put a 99 Brisnet speed figure and a 102 before that.
Yeah, because Mean Mary got a 78 speed figure. Yeah,
it was such a bad race. And then you look back at like these two ran against each other in the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile or Philly and Mary Turf. And Harvey's Little Goyle got third in that race, and Mean Mary got 7th. So
yeah, well, Mean Mary, if you look at that closely, Mean Mary was actually in second place early, and
then she
that's
died.
basically kind of like a death sentence for the way she runs. Like she's got to be on the lead. So I'm guessing in that, I don't remember that one off the top of my head, but I'm guessing there was kind of a speedball in there that kind of like set kind of a bad pace for Mean Mary. So
yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't see that happening here.
See, Harvey's Little Goyle just has the versatility. She can come off, she can come mid-pack, she can be kind of closer to the lead. I think she's a logical horse here. I'm not going to fault you for picking Mean Mary. I think she's good. Harvey's Little Goyle just seems like one of the stronger favorites of the weekend. Not strong enough for me to single, but if I was to play a ticket, I'd lean heavily on Harvey's Little Goyle. But I like the Mean Mary pick. I like it as kind of a mid-tier pick as well. All right, we'll go to my vulnerable favorite.
Yeah, who do you got?
I'm going to race 3 on Saturday, the Woody Stevens. The favorite here is Jackie's Warrior. The number 3 horse, 7-5, deserving favorite, I think. Jackie's Warrior won the Pat Day Mile at Churchill as his first race back to like a one-turn sprint type race after trying the Derby Trail, getting back to what he's good at. The thing is, the horse that he barely beat, Dream Shake, had a terrible trip. Was dealing with a ton of traffic. Dream Shake barely missed by getting him at the wire. And you're getting way better odds. Dream Shake's 5-2, Jackie's Warrior 7-5. Here's the big thing though. Dream Shake is getting 6 pounds on Jackie's Warrior because Jackie's Warrior has the greatest stakes victories. Dream Shake gets to carry 118, and Jackie's Warrior is carrying 124. And this horse won by a head last out, and you're going to give him 6 pounds over it. I think Dream Shake with a clean trip with the weight advantage is gonna fire here, and I think Jackie's Warrior is very vulnerable. What are your thoughts?
I think they're both vulnerable. How about that?
All right.
Because that race, that Pat Day Mile, it was such a fast race, like 21. I'm looking at the early fractions. Jackie's Warrior said 21.6 and 43.6 for the two opening fractions. Like, and Dream Shake was a half length off of him. So like, I think those horses, like, I just think they might have blown each other out. You know what I mean? They had a really hard fought race. And I would almost look for someone like maybe Drain the Clock.
Yeah, and I mean that's the other thing
like
too.
Nova Rags, like one of these other horses that is kind of coming in maybe a little more fresh. That
Well, so I do think that Drain the Clock and Caddo River are two other likely choices here. That's why I think Jackie's Warrior is the most vulnerable favorite for the weekend. Drain the Clock was undefeated going one turn. I mean, its only loss was a second place in the Fountain of Youth, getting on the Derby Trail, cut back to one turn in the Bayshore and won that. So Drain the Clock, I mean.
Yeah, he won the Swale at 7 furlongs by 6. And he won that race at Aqueduct. He looks like he kind of held on to win that one.
Yeah, so he's fast. I mean, the only thing knocking these horses is none of them have buyers that are as fast as Jackie's Warrior's highest buyer was a 100 in the Champagne last year. Both Jackie's Warrior and Dream Shake got 91 buyers for the Pat Day Mile. Drain the Clock's highest is an 86. Caddo River's highest is a 92. So Caddo River might have the speed to get up front. I do think it is going to be a faster pace, and Dream Shake can sit a little bit back. And
I don't think Caddo River. I'm glad you didn't bring him up because I don't think he has any chance. Because all of his wins, he's had the easy lead at the beginning. I think there's no way he's going to outrun.
I mean, his best race was the Smarty Jones, where he got the 92 buyer and won by 10 lengths. And that was at I think a mile.
Yeah, that's a 2-turn mile at Oaklawn though. And he had a 3-length lead after the first half mile. Like there's no way he's going to get loose on the lead with Jackie's Warrior. So
yeah,
I do think it's a vulnerable. So I guess I do agree with your assessment of a vulnerable favorite in here.
Yep. So I'm going with Dream Shake in that race, but either way, I think Jackie's Warrior is vulnerable. I think Drain the Clock, Jackie's Warrior, Dream Shake, and Caddo River are the 4 choices. I'm going with Dream Shake on top.
Wait, you don't like Nova Rags at 8-1 though, man?
No.
He's got 2 races at Belmont. He's got a first and a second. He's 1-for-1 at the distance.
He won his maiden and he won the Pasco at 7 furlongs. He's turning back to one turn, but I don't like it. I don't like horse. Yeah.
If the pace melts down,
He just ran in the Peter Pan too, so. I don't know.
Right,
it screams to me like this trainer doesn't know, like Wilmot doesn't know what he wants to do with this horse, and this is where he's trying him out. Yeah. All right. So that's vulnerable favorite. Let's go to our live long shot. John, who is your live long shot?
Yeah, so this one's going to be kind of a crazy one. It might anger some people on this podcast that are talking with me on the podcast, but I'm going to go to the Met Mile. I'm going to go to the most prestigious race of the day other than the Belmont. And I'm going to give you a 20-1 shot that I think can win the Met Mile, a stallion making race, a big time grade 1. It's Lexatonian. He's 20-1. He's coming off a second place. He's coming off that second place on Kentucky Derby Day in the Churchill Downs Sprint. He almost won it somehow. So he's coming in 3rd off of a layoff into the Met Mile. I will say, he's only had 4 wins in 17 lifetime starts. He's I don't even know if he's won a graded stakes. I can't see it on his PPs. His only win I see is an optional claimer allowance race. But he's always it always feels like he's got second place a couple of times in grade 1 sprints. Like he's had a 3rd place at Keeneland. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just his day. He's 3rd off a layoff. Jack Sisterson has shown the ability to get these older horses to fire their best shot. Now, maybe that was his last race at Churchill Downs when he fired his best shot and he got second place at 46-1 odds. I don't know. I'm just going to hope he, I want to include him on my wagers, man.
That's fine. He's
going to be so high odds. He's 20-1 and he's only going up.
Yeah, for good reason. I don't dislike this horse. I like Lexatonian. I liked him in the last race that he was in at Churchill Downs. I thought he had a good shot there. I liked him last year at Saratoga too. I don't like him in this race at all. He is facing the best horses in the country in this race, and his highest buyer was a 95. He's facing horses with multiple like 100+ buyers, and he fired his one good race. He's going to go back to racing in G3s and allowance races, and then come back up again.
He might, but I don't know. So my thought on picking him would be that like I do think Knicks Go and Mischievous Alex are going to get into like an early pace duel. I don't see any way in hell that they let Knicks Go just kind of like gallop to an easy lead.
And I think if you're picking this race, if you want someone with late pace, I'd go with Silver State.
I do want someone with later pace. So
Silver State has the best late pace in this field. Lexatonian's not really a late pace runner. He's like just off the lead, mid pack type guy.
He would be in the second flight, and then I'm thinking, maybe he's in third, and he just kind of loops around and goes and gets it done.
Yeah.
Just blows up everybody's pick fives and pick fours. And
hard disagree, but I mean, I'm glad you brought up this race. I love Mischievous Alex. 109 buyer is the highest buyer of any horses thrown up this year. He won that race easily last out. He's firing up at the right time. I think Knicks Go is vulnerable, even though he's put up a bunch of high buyers in the Pegasus and in the Breeders' Cup. I think Charlatan showed that when he gets into a duel up front, he's vulnerable. And
exactly.
So like you say,
all you got to do is just put your get a horse up there at his head, at his face, and I think Knicks Go will just crap out.
Yeah, Knicks Go is the highest early speed figure. Mischievous Alex will probably sit right off of him, and Lexatonian will probably go too. I don't know. We'll see. I think Knicks Go is vulnerable, but I think it's probably a 2-horse race. If I had to throw in another one, I'd throw in Dr. Post just because of his win in the Winchester.
Wait, so what are your picks for that race?
I'd pick Knicks Go and Mischievous Alex. I just like cold exact.
So you would pick Knicks Go?
Well, yeah, I think he's vulnerable, but I would cold exact to them.
Nah, see, I think we got to go against the chalk for the Met.
If you want a long shot, I think Silver State, because he has the late running ability. He's not even a long shot. He's a third choice, but I think his late running ability and the fact that he's won, 5 in a row.
Yeah, but he's won them all at like Oakland, and I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
he's actually winning, whereas Lexatonian isn't even winning races.
We'll see. I mean,
that's why he's a long shot, man. You never know.
No, I know. I mean, it's a good long shot. I think you just happen to pick the best race with like the 4 best horses in the country to pick a long shot against. But I think there's a chance. There's always a shot.
It would get crazy. It would be a crazy Saturday if it hits.
It would.
That's what I want.
All right. I'm going to go with I actually have 2 long shots. I usually have a hard time finding long shots, but I've got 2 12-1 long shots that I want to mention.
Okay.
The first is in race 6 on Saturday. That's the jackpot, the Jaipur Stakes, grade 1. I'm going to go all the way to the outside. Number 12, Samboye as my long shot. This horse got second last out to the favorite in this race. I think Fast Boat is the favorite. No, Bound for Nowhere is the favorite.
Bound for Nowhere is the favorite.
Yeah, Bound for Nowhere is the obvious favorite. Should win this race.
He looks like he's pretty strong in here.
Yeah, Fast Boat's I think the second or third choice. But Samboye barely lost to Fast Boat at Churchill last out. Came from way off the pace, and I think there's going to be a lot of pace in this race. So I think if Samboye can get another, fast pace to run into, looping around the outside, could be dangerous. And it's 12-1, so you're getting a big price. Ran into a lot of trouble last time and still barely lost. I think Samboye is a logical 12-1 in a wide open 12-horse field. So what are your thoughts? Did you look into that race much?
I haven't gone totally in depth because there's so many horses in it, but this is the first time I get to disagree with you. I hate that horse coming from the far outside. They're expecting some weather at Belmont this weekend. So I'm gonna handicap the turf races around good turf. Probably not yielding, but definitely not firm either. And like just looking at his last 2 were on good turf and he didn't win either of them. So I don't know how he's going to step up from a grade 3 to a grade 2 to a grade 1 and get a win.
I guess I should clarify. Like I think he has a shot. I don't know if he'll win. My next long shot, I think is going to win.
Is it
And
the
that's
same race?
no. It's going to be race 10.
Well, all right. My last point that I'm just looking at this race right now, and like Bound for Nowhere is pretty much the only horse with early speed in this turf sprint.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I literally think he might just go gate to wire.
he might.
It might be that easy where Bound for Nowhere just.
I mean, he's 2-1 for a reason. It's a 12 horse race. And
Yeah.
he's 2-1. Yeah, he's got a 118 early time form US speed figure. Who else? 97 for fast boat. Yeah, no one else has even comes close.
Maybe the only thing that gets Bound for Nowhere is if he's been winning at 5.5 furlongs. Maybe if he just like
That extra half furlong.
that extra half furlong just gets
gonna
because
get
I actually had Alexandra in this race last year and she won because of that extra half furlong.
Yeah.
So you
Didn't-
know maybe a closer can get in there and swoop in late to steal it.
True. Very true. All right. Well, my other long shot, another 12-1 shot is in the Manhattan race 10. And this is going to be the number 7 horse Channel Cat. So we're talking about the Channel Cat won its last race, got a 98 buyer just on the lead in the Man of War. So it won a G1 at Belmont on the lead back in May. And I don't know how much pace is going to be in this race. And I think Channel Cat might wire this field. Well, just like what you're saying with Bound for Nowhere in the other race, I think
And
Channel
Mean
Cat,
Mary.
yeah, and Mean Mary, I think Channel Cat might do that in this race. The two big ones that we're looking at are Domestic Spending and Colonel Liam in that rematch from their dead heat at Churchill. I think Channel Cat's going to be the surprise that no one's going to be looking at, who's just going to get on the lead, wire the field while Colonel Liam and Domestic Spending are fighting behind him. I still think one of those two might win, but Channel Cat, I think at 12-1 is logical.
You're saying I picked against like the 4 best horses in the Met Mile, man. You're picking against like literally like the 2 best turf horses in America right now in Colonel Liam and Domestic Spending. We hit them both on the Kentucky Derby day right before the Derby when they dead heated for the win. Man, I do not see a 12-1 shot wiring the field on a turf race.
But here's the thing. So Domestic Spending had a 100 buyer. Channel Cat had a 98 buyer in his last race. So it's not like it's like huge difference. You know, they're posting similar speed figures, similar fractions. So it's not like comparing a 109 buyer to a guy throwing up a 92.
Yeah, I mean, well, how about this? Like Channel Cat's actually cutting back in distance. He's going from 1 3/8 to 1 2/8.
Yeah, and it won. It was leading by a length and a half down the stretch. And the only reason it almost got caught was that extra distance. I think cutting back's actually gonna be perfect for it.
No, see, I think the closers will have a better shot at with a little bit less distance. It's kind of backward, but if he runs like a fast pace, like I think it sets up better for. I think the closers they don't have to go as long, so they have more in the tank in a shorter race.
Maybe we'll see.
I don't know. I love the top 3 horses in that race: Gufo, Colonel Liam, and Domestic Spending. Man,
I will not put any money on Gufo.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Dude, his last 3 races have all been grade 1s. He got a win. He got 3rd by a neck and 2nd by a nose. Like he always runs late. You know, it's just a matter of does he get up to win or does he get 2nd or 3rd? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he lost to Channel Cat in that race. Channel Cat's the one who beat him.
He did. I actually hit an exacta in that race because I knew Gufo was coming in off. That was his first race of the year. So I think, and that was Channel Cat's 2nd. Channel Cat was not 2nd off a layoff. So like Channel Cat was in better form. I think Gufo he's gonna turn the table on him pretty easily.
We'll see. All right.
Hey, we've been disagreeing on all of our quick picks, so why
I know.
not, man? Keep it rolling.
Our joint pick 5 ticket's gonna look.
Yeah, I'm a little scared for Saturday now. How are we gonna come together on this on these races, man? It's
gonna be more tenuous than the situation in the Middle East. All right.
Yeah, right. We'll
do you have
that?
All right. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap things up here?
No, man. I got to try to win all my Preakness money back. So maybe we'll just play all of our terrible long shots we gave out, and if they all hit, we're instant millionaires.
I have a feeling it's going to be chalky this weekend, but I think it's going to be chalky in that it's going to be one of the top 3 choices.
in
each race.
Yeah.
But that's still 3 solid horses per race that you've got to go with.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. Like kind of like maybe not the favorite every race, but
one of the 3 favorites will win every
Yeah.
race. So it'll be chalky, but it'll be hard to pick which of the chalks are going to hit.
yeah.
I don't know. It'll be fun.
Maybe
This is
maybe
the
that's
best.
the strategy we'll go at for
Yeah,
Saturday.
we'll just do 3 deep for 5 races, and not try to get wild. We'll see.
All right, man. Well, let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. We're excited for the Belmont this weekend, and follow us on Twitter. I'm at Horse Sky Mike. We got at Bush League Racing. Give us a like and subscribe. And as always, may the juleps be with you.